Alrighty, folks, let's get right back into it. It is day 2 of Riftbound Unleashed reveals, and I'm ecstatic. They just keep dropping heat. Riot's dropping some amazing cards, some of which look a little too broken, but neither here nor there. So let's jump into it with the new mechanic that was just revealed, along with every card that I could find that was revealed today, and go from there. So the new mechanic that just was revealed was from the LeBlanc champion unit. Again, this is a 4-cost, 4-might champion unit, which people seem to love or hate when you think about Draven and how strong it was having a consistent turn 2 play. But LeBlanc everywhere at once says backline. I must be assigned combat damage last. And so I'll be the last new keyword in Unleashed, which is essentially the opposite of tank. Right, so think about like the Soraka card in Spirit Forged, where, you know, if she takes damage, she takes it last. Essentially, they made that a keyword. The other interesting thing about LeBlanc here is your temporary effects at her battlefield don't trigger. So if you move her in and conquer and then create a reflection of her, well, now you have effectively 2 LeBlancs and neither can die because it says your effects at battlefield don't trigger. Now, if that LeBlanc gets pushed back away from the battlefield, then she will die at the beginning of your turn as she is a reflection. But very, very interesting. I'm really excited to see the alternate art for this card because I think it's already a gorgeous card as it is. But we've got plenty more cards to jump into, starting with some new legends. So we'll skip Jhin because we got some fun Jhin cards as well, and we'll go to Rengar, a red and orange legend, Rengar the Pride Stalker, that says when you play a unit, give a unit +1 this turn. And when I first read this, I thought, this kind of sucks. But if you think about it from the ambush lens, any ambush card you have will automatically come in as +1. So think of it as your ambush cards are 1 might stronger, which I think could be really, really interesting. I'm not sure if this is necessarily a token deck, but it might just be a surprise your opponent a little bit more deck. The other legend that we got was Vi, red and yellow, Piltover Enforcer, which says, when you conquer, if you assign 3 or more excess damage, you may exhaust me to ready a unit. I think this is pretty cool. I think it has a lot of uses. Essentially, it makes the Lucian champion unit that goes in, readies, and then comes back. It gives that as a possibility to any of your units. But also, it lets you double conquer in a turn. If you are able to smack one battlefield, you can go conquer another one by playing a unit that turn as well. So I think there's a lot of potential with Vi. The question is, will she be played over Rek'Sai for the red-yellow color scheme? And I'm not sure. But then the third legend that we got today, / late last night, is Jhin. So red and blue, Jhin the Virtuoso, which I think is very, very interesting. And he says, when you play a spell, if you spent 4 energy or more, you may banish that spell. Then, if there are 4 spells banished with me, put each in its trash and channel 4 runes, draw 1. Big keyword here is 4 runes. There's no exhausted there. So on this 4th turn that you've played a 4-cost spell, you get 4 energy back, 4 power back, and you get to draw 1. So I think it's a really, really strong swing, and there's a lot of interesting things you can do here with Jhin. So really, really excited for that. So as we look at Jhin, let's go ahead and look at his new champion unit. So as we saw last week, and by last week, I mean yesterday, geez Louise, things are moving fast. The red Jhin also is 4 in a power, and when he moves, gain an energy power. This is the blue Jhin, which says Meticulous Killer, 4 for 4. Again, a well-statted champion unit. Vision, first off, when you play him, you get to look at the top card of your deck. You may recycle it. I think it's interesting how they choose Vision and Predict, because to me, those are the same abilities, but worth just noting. And it says, if you've spent 4 energy or more to play a spell this turn, you may play me for 1 blue power. So Jhin is kind of just a blue Rasa, and people are saying goodbye Rasa. Of course, Rasa's 50% higher in stats, but Jhin can be played almost consistently turn 2 every time. If you run Consult the Past, you essentially play a 4 might, 4 power, or 4 energy unit that says draw 2 with 1 power cost. Pretty strong. So I think Jin's going to be very interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of the alternate art. I think the full art on the normal looks pretty clean, but I still love it nonetheless. So moving on, we have Jin's signature spell, Curtain Call. It is 4 again, so I'm glad they kept the 4 rhetoric throughout all of this. And it says repeat 1 energy, repeat 1 power, repeat 1 energy and 1 power. And so you'll see this with a lot of Jin's abilities like the Bouncing Grenade as well, where you can keep paying and it kind of like stacks up. This one, the repeat cost kind of gets progressively more expensive. And so it starts with just an energy, then a power, and then both. So ultimately you could play 6 energy and 2 power to play everything on this card, which is draw 1, deal 2 to a unit at a battlefield, deal 3 to a unit at base, give a unit at a battlefield -4 might this turn. Someone's compared it to a Singularity, which I think is not a bad comparison by any means, but it's a little bit more niche. I think very, very interesting nonetheless. Moving on, we have the Jin gear, if you will, for Gutter Palace, which is a 4 energy gear that says at the start of your beginning phase, right? So that's like A, B, C, D. So this is like before you draw, this is before you can play cards, anything. If you have exactly 4 cards in hand and exactly 4 units at battlefields, you win the game. Which is like some crazy Exodia. I think it's way too niche, but people are kind of scared of it. We'll see. And it says discard 1 and tap this gear to play a 1 might bird token with deflect. I think that's really interesting. Like the bird token is pretty specific, and I'm not sure really how that plays into the discarding. There's probably a lot of unique things you can do with this card. I don't see the lines right now, and so I'll have to check in on those later. Jumping next, we have the Master Yi signature spell, Alpha Strike, which says action, choose a friendly unit. It deals damage equal to its might, split among enemy units at battlefields. Then for each unit this kills, do this. Gain 1 XP for 3 energy, 1 power. So I still don't know the ruling on this. Like let's say you have a 5 might unit and they have 3 units on the battlefield. Is it 2, 2, and 1? Do you get to choose the 2, 2, and 1? Otherwise, if it's evenly split, do you still choose the targets? So how the might is evenly split, I'd love to learn a little bit more about. But I think this is pretty interesting as we think about the Master Yi who's slowly leveling up, slowly killing battlefields, and getting to the point where he can drop his massive Master Yi. So a lot of potential here, but I don't fully love it yet until I've learned more. Next, we have an orange card for some more XP gathering, Hunter's Machete. So it is a 3 energy, 2 might gear, equip of just 1 power cost that says hunt. When I conquer, hold, gain 1 XP. There's a world where there's some hunt XP Jax build, but I think this is too slow in Jax, right? You would just play Doran's Blade instead. So I'm not sure if this will ever see play, but maybe in Master Yi you need it. So we'll see. Next, we've got 2 really, really good cards. I think these are going to be potentially meta-defining. The first one, purple. Let's give purple more. There were 2 broken purple cards in this release today, so you know they keep them coming after Abandon from yesterday, but whatever. So this is Heedless Resurrection. Reaction. Again, stop giving purple reaction for 2. For 2 energy, 1 power. As an additional cost to play this, kill a friendly unit. So if they target one of your units to kill, boom, you reaction on top of that, you kill it anyways, and then you play a unit from your trash that costs no more energy and no more power than the killed unit, ignoring its cost. And so this is kind of like anything else where if you play a unit, if you still have a unit on a battlefield, you can play it there. Or if you kill that unit on your battlefield and there's no other units, then you have to play it to your base. But again, I think this is very, very interesting. A lot of people have said this is something you can do with like a Ferris Forerunner, essentially pay 2 and a power to kill it, get your Mech Might units, tokens, and then play another Ferris right off of it. So there's a lot of potential here. Very, very interesting. The next card is the LeBlanc hero card, as in like LeBlanc players think this is a heroic card, and I'm inclined to agree. Sacrifice. Reaction, again, reaction is so good for 1. As an additional cost to play this, kill a friendly mighty unit, so 5 plus might, draw 2, channel 1. It's insane. It's hidden blading your own unit. It doesn't require power. It actually channels your rune. You still draw 2. And if you have any kind of temporary unit, hand tench reflection, that's 5 might, swing it in, kill an enemy unit, buff it up somehow maybe, and then just kill it before it goes temporary, and boom, you get to draw 2 channel 1. And you can even, because it's reaction, save it for the next turn, and you can react to your temporary unit dying, so you can even hold the battlefield away from your opponent. A lot of incredible things here. A lot of incredible things with that card. Moving forward, we have Smite for 2 in a red that says action, not reaction, sadly. So red is not getting any love here, at least in the spell sector. Deal 3 to a unit out of battlefield. If it would die this turn, banish it instead. When I first read this, I did not realize how good this card would be. But what I didn't understand is if it would die, banish it instead means it doesn't die. So for all of your Death Knell cards, your Ferris Forerunner, all of the other things that we're trying to do to get units to die, it gets banished instead. And I think this will have some interesting abilities when it comes to playing units that have been banished, things like that. But Smite prevents Death Knells from occurring. So if you have the Karthus abusing deck, this is a good counter to that. So interesting to look out for. It's Hex Tech Ray, but more expensive. But also it executes, but also it banishes. So very, very interesting. Next card, another purple broken card. Star-Crossed, 3 energy, 1 power, reaction, or reactions for purple. Return a friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hands. And so people were comparing this to the beast below, the 7 energy, 2 power purple beast for 8 might, which is so strong. And it's like return a friendly unit and an enemy unit to their hand. And that beast doesn't even require you to have a friendly unit. The difference that people don't understand is that is a unit you have to play on your turn and your turn alone, right? This is something you can play at any moment if someone's swinging into your battlefield, if someone's playing a spell, if blah, blah, blah. So when someone plays, I don't know, Singularity, and you not only save your unit, but you also return one of their big units to their hand, it's a rebuke, but better. It's a rebuke and a retreat in one. So I think this spell could be insanely good depending on if the meta is spell heavy or not. But the idea of a rebuke and a retreat rolled into 1 card for purple is incredible. Next we have Hui, who was revealed earlier today. So for 5 energy and 1 blue power, Hui the Brooding Painter. I like all of these, like you can choose ones because I think it gives you optionality. I'm just not sure how good it is. But he says, when I move, draw 1, then discard 1. I love the draw 1 first and then discard. It lets you kind of cycle your hand the correct way. Then do the following. So if you discard a spell, draw 1. If you discard a gear, ready 2 runes. And if you discard a unit, give Hui plus 3 might this turn. What's cool about this is you can move him into a battlefield, discard something, and then depending on what you need for that battlefield, decide, right? So like discarding a unit helps you gear up for a fight. Whereas discarding a spell is what you'd probably do if it was an empty battlefield. So a lot of flexibility here with Hui, and I think it will be an interesting play. Whether or not it actually sees play, to be determined. Next we have Nyla. So I love this trend of kind of orange cards that are 3 energy, 1 power instead of 4 energy, 1 power. It's cheaper, it's cooler, they're all 4 might. I'm thinking of Nidalee as well. Nyla Joyful Aesthetic has Accelerate, so it could be back up to 4 energy, 2 power. And ganking, and it says when I move, gain 1 XP. And so I think this will be a really cool card as we get kind of more movement mechanics and first mate and readying things. Is Nyla going to be the way to get Master Yi up to level 16? To be determined. Next we have 2 good purple cards. I think one of them is actually really good, one of them is okay. The good one is Insightful Investigator for 3 energy and 3 might. When you play me, choose an opponent. They reveal their hand. It is a mini mind splitter, incredibly strong. That alone is incredible. You get so much information. Then if you happen to have 2 XP, you choose a card from their hand, and if you do, they discard that card and draw 1, which is incredible, right? So if you happen to have any kind of XP deck, which 2 XP is not that hard, you get to mind splitter essentially their card. Very, very, very strong. It's not limited to just spells or gear. It's any card in their hand. Incredibly strong card. Next, we have Crescent Guardian for 4 energy, 4 might. If you've played a spell this turn, you may pay a purple energy as an additional cost. And if you do, I enter ready. This is, potentially for aggro purple decks, is a way to move it in and move it back like a Lucian, or put boots on it and gank it. This feels kind of like a weaker just Aurelia as a way. So I don't know if I love it, but it might see play in some niche decks. I think this will be really, really good though in the pre-release, so just flagging that. Next, we have our first battlefield that we've seen from the set. What I didn't like about Spirit Forge is I think the Spirit Forge battlefields kind of were awful, and the meta doesn't really see play from that many of them. This, I think, is a great battlefield that will see play, which is Vaults of Helia. When you hold here, your non-token units cost 1 more to play this turn. And so what this does is it punishes decks that hold this and makes their other units cost more. People are calling this the Aurora card. I hate Aurora. I'm always going to say that. I think it's a horrible game mechanic and doesn't make for fun games. But I think this would be good for control style decks where you're not trying to rush out units. You're more, hey, maybe if you're playing Jhin, you're just playing spells for the first 4 turns so you can get the 4 runes channeled. Maybe. Next, we have Diana, both her unit and her alternate art, no longer human. It's pretty expensive to play Diana. It's 4 energy, 1 power for 3, so significantly understated. But she has ambush, so you can play her as a reaction to a battlefield. And when you play a spell, she gets +2 might this turn. So it's a better Ravenbloom student. The issue is you need to have a lot of runes up, or otherwise she'll get blown out. I wish she was 3 might, or 3 energy and 1 power instead of 4 energy and 1 power, but then maybe Diana would be broken. So interesting to see how this goes. I don't know if this is enough to play Diana as a deck, but I guess we'll see. You could argue as well that the Diana Legend ability gives you 1 energy in combats, and maybe that's enough. So the alternate art is her Blood Moon skin. I think it looks really, really good. So big fan of that all around. And 3 more cards left. We've seen some alternate arts too that have been released of legends and champions we've already seen. So I'll jump on that first one with Lilia. I really don't like the skin. I think some people can think it's really cute and some people can think it's like a little bit, I don't know, a little bit unsettling. And so I have the unsettling viewpoint. So love the work that went into the art, but personally I find it unsettling and don't really want this card, but cool nonetheless. Next, we have the Vile Maw alternate art, which I think looks pretty good, just like the normal Vile Maw. Do we have the normal here? Yeah, I mean, I think they both look good. I think in this case, if you pull this, you're not like, woo, alternate art. You're like, oh, I got Vile Maw. It looks like Vile Maw. And that's one of the things I think people have said is that like the alternate arts sometimes aren't different enough. And I feel like this is one of those cases where it's just him a little bit farther back. So interesting to see. I would love if like alternate arts were more full art, right? Like in this case, the previous version of the card is already full art. So how do you make it cleaner? And maybe it's like remove the yellow border to make it really clear. So just ideas. And then lastly, we have 2 alternate arts for Master Yi. We have the Cosmic Blade Master Yi, which I love. I think this looks really clean. I think it looks better than the doofy Master Yi, the normal one. So maybe this alternate art I'm a fan of, even though it still doesn't have removal of the yellow borders. And then Ivern, which I think this looks so good. I love this. The Astronaut Ivern just goes so hard. I think it looks so different than his normal skin, and it just is, it's cute, it's awesome, it's amazing. So absolutely a big fan. But that being said, that's all of the updates for today. I'm gonna continue dropping content. But what I ask for you is if you have any ideas, any way for me to improve my content, please let me know. If there's anything you wanna see Riftbound related, please let me know as well. And we're just counting down the days till March 25th when I get to do my own reveal. But until then, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Peace.